Okay. So let's keep talking, inshallah. So what's freedom? Anyone else? Layla, Manal. Salam aleikum, Manal. So what's your idea of freedom, everyone?
Wait, what was the question?
What is freedom?
That's a hard question.
Well, I mean, if you realize about it, like they mentioned the freedom for women to wear whatever they want, the freedom of expression, freedom of speech, right? There's so many freedoms. There's freedom to do pretty much almost anything. They sell you this idea over and over that this is the land of the free, and not just America, but they speak of these Western societies as UK, France, and all of these countries. They say that they're free countries. So we're going to try to understand this freedom and really test it or put it on a scale of reason, a scale of intellect, and see where it falls. To be able to do whatever you want. Okay. Would everyone agree freedom would mean that I should have the choice to do whatever I want?
I disagree, but I don't know how to explain it.
Okay. So think about why you disagree. Okay, so Layla, speak. You have a mic.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi guys.
Hi.
I feel like, okay, so if we're talking in terms of like this life being a test, right?
We're not talking about the Muslim perspective yet.
Not yet?
Talking
okay.
Oh yeah. We're
Well
just
then
talking
yeah,
about
I like if you're looking at it from like that level, then yeah, I guess it would mean like to do whatever you want. But I also think freedom is like the absence of fear. That's how I would define it.
Okay, the absence of fear. Can you elaborate on that? Fear of what?
Well, it would depend on like the situation, but I actually got that from like a talk from Nina Simone, where she talks about her idea of like freedom, growing up obviously as like a Black woman in times where it's not easy to be a person of color minority, and that's what she says. Freedom is no fear. People who have freedom most of the time don't even think about the fact that they have it. So yeah, I was thinking of it more in the like Islamic sense. I don't really think about, I mean, I should think about freedom more, but I feel like for the most part I'm in a very like privileged position, so I don't really have to think about my freedoms as often until I expose myself to other people who lack those freedoms. But you know, I'm not always put in that position. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me try to hone it or focus it more, having total control of your life without worrying. Hold on, I gotta read the chat. Without worrying about limitations or restrictions. So I think what you guys are trying to get at, or the two comments that I read, was having no consequences to your choices or desires. Yes? Okay. Right? And that's kind of the West ideology. So here's a question, a plain open question. Do you think UK, Britain, France, all these countries are free countries? Are countries where you're allowed to express freedom of speech, freedom of dress code, freedom of religion?
No, there's no freedom of speech.
Okay, can you give me
Yeah,
an example?
go to the queen and curse at her. See what's gonna happen.
Okay.
It's not like that in Britain.
I'm just saying, go to England, wherever the queen is. I don't know where she is, but wherever she is, go curse at her. See what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
In Britain, like since the monarchy, like they have a different system. It's actually not like that. Like I was talking to my cousins too about that because that's where they live. And they said you technically can say whatever you want and you're not going to be censored from saying anything about the queen if you like post on Twitter like something bad about her, even if it's like really public, they don't censor you. But I know in like other countries that aren't in the West, they do that.
So let's look at a few other examples, right? Okay, we said the UK, the Queen. You can't. Some say you can or you cannot curse or disrespect her. Maybe there's a limitation of what can be said and done and so on. Is anyone keeping track of the COVID situation? Like, if you say anything against the vaccine, it will be taken down on any social media account, whether it's factual or not. Is that
I'm not really sure about this, but like I posted something like on my story about how the city, like now you need a vaccine to get everywhere. And like that
Mhm.
kind of defeats the whole purpose of like freedom because you like kind of have to get it to go into like public places and indoor places. And Instagram, every single time, like everyone that posted that, it says like, oh, like this is not check here for coronavirus sources or like now, but now it's like any word that had any post that has coronavirus on it, it's like, oh, this might not be factual. And even if you post something like political, it's like, oh, this might be incorrect political information or something like that.
Yeah, so now they can literally take anything that you say in this free country where freedom of speech resides and take it down, right? So there's obviously certain topics that you can say without any filter. Like, you can disrespect Muslims as much as you want without absolutely zero filters, and that will never be taken down. But there's certain groups that you can speak about that your stuff will be taken down. Even speaking factual information like about Israel will be taken down, right? Or factual information about the vaccine will be taken down, or factual information about political candidates that you will be taken down. We'll get into the girls topic soon, Adam. Don't worry. So like, this is just like the whole idea of freedom of speech already falls into or can be destroyed. Like, you can say things about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and disrespect him, but you can't say anything about the French president macaroni and cheese, right? So there's different things that you can allowed to say in this freedom of speech and who you can say it against, right? So it depends on, obviously there's this word freedom, it says almost it's very limited, would you say, in terms of freedom of speech, just freedom of speech? Would you say it's limited? It's not real freedom,
If
right?
you were to post stuff, for sure, except like, outside, it's not.
Yeah, or even if you speak, if you say it in front of the wrong person, consequences will happen.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
you're less likely, your post will reach way further than your mouth and your feet. That's why it gets caught quicker. Freedom is not free. Yeah, I used to work as a flyer boy when I was like in high school, and the owner of a cell phone store, it was for a cell phone store, had me say free phones. Like, if I didn't say free phones, he'll come on and yell at me. And one guy passes by, he's like, free phones? No such thing as free in America. Everything comes at a consequence. And that made me think, and I was like, yeah, there's a 2-year contract to this. It's not free. They sucker you in with the word free and then trap you and enslave you for 2 years. You get what I'm saying? So like, the whole illusion of words, like, for example, I was thinking of how the West is really, really, really good at marketing, right? At using words to sway different meanings. And when I say the West, I mean all of these countries that have perfected deception, really. And they did that during the Prophet ﷺ's time, the disbelievers as well, when they use words to confuse and misguide people or put false label. You might have to speak, Muhammad, because I have to keep going to the chat. So like, for example, instead of calling it war on Islam, they'll call it war on terror. Meanwhile, they're the ones who are causing terror and coining up a term to make themselves seem like the angels when they're really the devils, killing innocent people under the disguise of war on Islam. whether it's physical, intellectual, and so on. I'm gonna have to read these chats because you guys are refusing to talk. I also don't think it's a free country because everything you do has consequences, as the meaning of freedom doesn't make sense. But I also feel like I feel like if the only taking of your freedom that you experience is getting your post deleted, you're obviously in a very privileged position. No, you're not in a privileged position. I think you're not. We haven't gotten into the different types of slavery, right? There's physical slavery, there's mental slavery, there's economical slavery, right? Very rarely is physical slavery nowadays presented because it has a sour taste on people's eyes and hearts. The economical slavery and mental slavery, it's very hard to define, right? Or it's not really hard to define, but it's just like, it is what it is. We deal with it, right? Yeah. But most people, addictions, right. So if we delve really, inshallah, if we have time, we'll delve into all these different subcategories of enslavement, right? But we're still discussing slavery at all of its form. We discuss freedom of speech. Now let's discuss freedom of religion in all of these countries. Like America, we have the ability to practice freely, supposedly, our religion. Would you all agree or disagree with that?
I agree.
Okay.
What was the question?
If in America you have the freedom to practice Islam,
You do though.
do you?
I mean, I've had no problems.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, they just think like, oh, but it's the people, except technically the government isn't stopping you. Like people in different places, they're gonna have different views on you. But at the end of the day, you're not forced to not practice it. You can still practice.
Yeah, in America though, but like in other countries, like it's a different situation.
Yeah,
Okay.
especially with that thing where they only show their eyes. I forgot what it's called. I don't know the name.
The niqab or burqa?
Yeah. And like even in Morocco, some places like you can't get into like water parks, you can't get into some places if you have that on, except at the security gate, you can just lift it and then it's fine, you know? So you're still technically allowed to practice it wherever you go.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I think it comes with like to an extent, because a lot of the time you can only practice your religion to the point where it makes people feel like comfortable, like with the example that you just brought up.
Yeah. So like, I can attack you, or I can try to put chains on your neck without putting chains on your neck from making you practice a certain thing. Are you guys following me? Yes? You get it? Do most people get it? So I can make it hard for you so you can take off your hijab, which technically I've made it harder for you to practice your religion freely. And all I did was demonize you and made you feel uncomfortable in your own skin, so you had to change yourself. And that's mental enslavement. Right? Why aren't you allowed to pray at schools? If you think about it, like, you have to fight for it.
It's not that you're not
Most
allowed.
people aren't though.
It's not that you're not allowed. You just like don't have the time to, or it's like weird.
Yeah, like
Right.
everyone's schedule is different. But if you like make a request with your like guidance counselor, well, it's different because like I go to a private school. So like if you have to, you know, do your religious requirements, they always let you like step out of a class for like 10 minutes or something like that.
Mhm.
And you can. And then other schools, like they have like their own separate room if they
Yeah.
request it.
Yeah. So in some places, like I said, you have to fight for it to make it accessible, right? It's not something that exists as freedom of religion. You have to fight for it to make it accessible. So the West in America is more of a liberal, as do as you wish type of country. And we'll talk about the consequences of that. And let's look at other Western countries that may, you might see that freedom really not exist, like France, for example, right? Would you say there's freedom of practicing Islam? Or even Saudi Arabia, perfect example. No, right? So even though it's a Western country, the leadership is completely different. Even though they have the same goal, they might disagree on their approach. So hear me out on this part, right? Let's say me and Qasim are the presidents of a classroom, each have our own class. And we will try, you guys got to speak up with your questions because there's like 22 messages. So just let me finish this. So me and Qasim are the presidents of each of our own classes. And our goal is to make our classes change a habit about them, right? Qasim will be like, well, I'm just going to create laws to prevent them from doing that habit. I'm going to say, well, I'm going to just mentally attack them to the point that they make that choice on their own. Would you say that it's both the same goal?
You gotta repeat it, man. I got lost.
Okay. All right, no problem. Well, let's see. Does anyone else, did anyone else get it, that they want to explain it in their own way? Maybe they could do a better job.
No, I just wasn't listening.
Oh, okay. So let's say me and Qasim has his own class. I have my own class. And we're both trying to get them to wear a uniform, for example, right? Qasim, he just goes, well, I'm going to make it a rule that everyone must wear that uniform to come to class. I'm going to make a rule that says, or I'm going to hire two of the classmates and tell them, I want you to demonize anyone who's not wearing that uniform and make them feel guilty and ashamed of who they are until they eventually wear it. And more people every day will keep changing and will basically to fit in that uniform. One is more aggressive and one is more passive, but the goal is the same, right?
Yeah.
Same end result, but different approaches. Exactly. So between the two countries I just given you, what would you say has a more passive approach and what has a more aggressive approach? America's more passive, right? And France has the more aggressive, right? And you kind of see that they both have, all these countries have the same end result, which is what they try to coin as the war on terror, which is really the war on Islam, but their approaches may be different, right? That one person's approach may be very aggressive compared to another person's approach, which is very passive, right? But they both have the same agenda, the same purpose of why they're doing things. They may just disagree on how to do it, and so on. So what I'm trying to get you guys is to be aware of these things, of these ideas that they coin as war on terror or freedom or liberating the women. Like, the whole issue with Afghanistan, if they actually do care about women or not, right? We can discuss that. So like, for example, let's take the idea of clothing, right? They say that hijab is something that oppresses women, correct?
Yeah.
So they're saying they're for the freedom of women.
Who do you mean when you're saying they?
I mean, French government or media or feminists or well, it depends on the feminist. But
okay, but I don't understand, like, when you bring up feminism, like, what are you referring to? Because I feel like okay, I've seen what the idea of mainstream feminism is, and I didn't like it, right? But when you go deeper and you study deeper into the roots of it, that's when I feel like I resonate with it. So sometimes I feel like when we discuss it in this class, it's like these men haters or this misunderstood idea of what feminism is supposed to be. What I feel like are true feminists are people who support I don't know. I mean, I identify as a feminist and I support like hijabis doing whatever they want to do. And like, yeah, I mean, obviously it depends on like what conversation we're having, but I feel like it's a lot of it is like people have their own agenda and it's not truly for women, you know.
Um, who stopped you from doing things though? You could do whatever you want though. No one's stopping you.
That's what I'm thinking. Like you can do whatever. And it's like the US, like
I don't
anywhere.
get
You
it.
can wear whatever you want. If you want to wear hijab, you can. If you want to wear shorts, you can. Like even
Okay, but
together.
you're
Nah, not in
speaking
Islam though. Not
when
in
we're
Islam though.
talking, no, but when we're talking about it, we're fighting for all women. You're saying
Mhm.
in the US you can do that, but how can women everywhere do that if there are literal laws going in that stop them from doing that? You don't
Nah,
think
but
that's
the,
your
like,
responsibility to also fight for them?
nah, but like, look, feminists have the right to, like, women in general have the right to do everything, right? To everything they want. But there's like a line that they can't cross. You know what I mean? Like you can't, and for men too, like you can't go outside wearing whatever you want. It's disturbing. In school this year, what
Okay,
I've
but these
noticed,
are little like
Let me jump
fights
in.
that you're having. There's deeper things
no,
than
it's
just
not. It's
women what they're
haram, bro.
wearing.
That's zina.
Okay,
Hold
yes,
on.
I
Yeah,
agree, but we're
I'm gonna jump
fighting for
in.
bigger scale things like women's
I'm gonna
rights to
jump in.
education
Wait,
or
who's denying education, bro? This is what?
Adam and Layla.
oh my
Adam and Layla.
god. Do you not know
Adam and
what's
Layla.
happening in the world? Like
Adam, no,
Who's
no, no.
denying?
Jesus.
I want to
Okay.
know who. You
Hey,
tell me.
okay, both of you. I'm gonna mute you both. Listen for a second. I'll let you guys talk it out, right? But at some point, both of you stopped listening, right? And there was walls, defensive walls that were pulled up, and you weren't gonna get anywhere. Let me explain the point of why I brought this topic up, and I let Layla explain her point of feminism. And because I know there was different groups of different agendas, you can't label everybody because there's different groups with different motives and so on. Now, I can't speak for every single type of feminism or group out there. I can't, right? And that's not the whole point. The point I'm discussing is let's discuss the realities of the world that we live in. You want to wear whatever you want, and you want any girl to wear whatever she wants. No problem, right? She has the freedom to do so. Going back to what I said in the beginning, do you live in this world alone? Yes
No,
or no?
no.
No. Nobody lives in this world alone. Everyone, when I asked you, what is your idea of freedom? To do whatever I want without consequences or fear of consequences. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why going back, I said there's an illusion of freedom because it will be impossible because you don't live in this world alone. Therefore, there will always be consequences to your action. Okay? Now, the same idea that I can wear whatever I want and not have consequences to that dress code, right? And I think David Chappelle said it best. If you dress like a clown and you don't want people to look at you, then stop dressing like a clown, right? And this is not to say that they dress like clowns, but certain attire grabs certain attention. That's just the mental creation of a human being, right? Men and women were made to be attracted towards one another. To deny that, you need mental help to face the realities of the world that you live in. Does that make sense? So, like, yes, I can say to the men that are checking or doing things wrong to these women to stop and lower their gaze and do that, but they can just simply say, well, it's my eyes. I'm free to do whatever I want. What's for me to stop his argument of freedom versus hers? That's my question to you, like.
wait, can you repeat like can you just okay, because a lot of the time when you ask a question, it like goes into a ramble, so I'm not sure what to address.
Okay. So I said someone has the freedom. Wait, you agree with what? With what she said?
I agree with what you said because I feel like a lot of stuff, like if a guy can say, oh, well, she's wearing that, I can look at her, it's my eyes, and then it's going to turn into, it's it's like my eyes. I can look at a kid that way. I feel like we're just going in this thing where it's like, this is okay until everything is okay.
Yeah, it's a circle. It's a circle of hypocrisy, right? It's like the whole idea about homosexuality is like, you need to accept my opinion that homosexuality is okay. You need to respect that opinion. But can you respect the opinion that I disagree that it's okay? No, 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 no. You have to respect my opinion, because I'm free to do whatever I want. Well, okay, so go do it. Why do you need my permission for your existence? Right? The hypocrisy of forcing their ideologies upon others because they want to remove the consequences of their actions, which is unrealistic, because again, there's no such thing as freedom, right? But this creates this world that we live in, and it's getting more chaotic, and people are fighting with each other because they're not facing reality. They're not dealing with the world as it is. They're being taught illusions of words. Okay, do you get the question? What is the question, or you want me to ask it?
No, ask it.
Okay, so the scenario I gave is a woman is dressing however she wants, and she has every right to, right? You're free to express yourself however you want, but she wants to control the man who says, well, I'm free to look at what I want for as long as I want.
Okay.
And I'm free to speak and make noises.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is how I feel about that. And okay, I'm not gonna go into this whole fight with Adam again. I'm just saying there are millions of misplaced people, refugees, victims of war, women who want an education and cannot get it because of their lack of resources. So to say that feminism isn't fighting for that, but anyway, we're not talking about that. Okay.
No, we're not.
My idea.
That's not what I was talking about.
This is
at all,
not
bro.
the question I asked.
I know. I just wanted to say, because he was like, "Who's denying women education?" Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
I didn't say that.
He said, "No, answer me. Forget Adam. Forget Adam."
Unfair?
Okay.
Mark?
I just wanted to say that. Okay. But with the topic of modesty, I agree with what you are saying. When it comes to sexualization, I feel like modesty and wearing the hijab is something that can be used as a weapon against that. And that's what I feel makes it so powerful and like empowering for women. That's why I don't find it to be like oppressive at all. So yeah, I agree with what you were saying. It's like a cycle of hypocrisy. And I feel like I still see like with some women, with some hijabi women that cover, they still get like comments made like that, but obviously not to the extent that you would get if you weren't dressing modestly. So I don't think it's something that you will, or some people find hijabis more like
attractive.
Yeah, because they're like, there's this, something that they're hiding from you. Yeah. This mystery that comes with them, right? So you're not going to be able to escape sexualization as a whole, but do I believe that it decreases it? Yes. And yeah, so I agree with what you were saying.
So I think the point is, obviously, of this discussion is to show that Islam says, here's a problem, right? And here's how you both can solve it. The woman has to do her part to be modest. So does the man. The woman lowers her gaze. The man lowers his gaze. Have mutual respect. Try to realize that she's the mother, daughter of someone, right? So it tries to educate and create this understanding. But it's not saying like, well, no. I want to do whatever I want, and I don't want to face consequences. He should have more self-control. But I get to disrespect myself.
And I feel like that's what makes it so perfect, though, is like, because it's like on both sides, and it stops you from getting in that like cycle of like hypocrisy. Like I believe that like a man that's like a good Muslim man and like follows all of those like values that are in the Quran, and like a woman who does the exact same thing, like those are good people. And of course people struggle with their faith and everything, but I feel like if more people studied the Quran and like more people introduced to Islam, this would be like a less violent world where we wouldn't have to like be put in those situations. But yeah.
There's definitely, I feel they say religion is the cause of our problems. That's a modern day saying amongst everyone, right? But you'll see that it's actually the opposite. It's the lack of religion. And what I mean by that, yes, there's millions of Muslims, millions of Christians, millions of Jews, millions of all these people that don't practice, right? They're just walking, and they have the littlest to know, either the small amount of knowledge to what the religion actually dictates of them as behavior, or the religion was washed away. Yes, 100% discipline, right? And this is why Allah says in the Quran, when it is told to them, do not cause corruption on earth, they say, no, we're the ones who bring about justice and bring about peace and everything. But Allah says, but you are the corruptors, but you don't see it not, right? Because like what you see from these people is they're always worrying about their view of things, not making fact with the realities, again, and I keep saying this world, but the realities of the world that we live in. We're not being aware that, hey, there's other people in this world than me, and I need to learn how to live with these people. Right, exactly. We all have our egos, right? So it's a battle of me versus the whole world, thinking nobody exists but my rights and my freedoms. And that's where you have a lot of problems. And sadly, and in a good way, Islam, if it's taught properly and exercised properly, it will flourish again, because it will fix all of these problems that society has. No, not by the sword, by educating and having these discussions and really being honest with ourselves, right? Because to have these kind of conversations that we're having right now, we need to be like, yeah, this is an issue that we're all facing, right? We need to be like, yes, I do have an issue of wanting to, where it was never like that. What do you mean? I didn't get that comment. It was never not flourished. Sorry, I didn't read it.
Yeah, you just said like it would be Islam would be flourished again. Like it was um just it's like people just don't pay attention. Like Islam is so good, but
It is so good, but if it's reached nowadays, I would say that there is very little to no Islam
yeah, because
globally.
people just don't listen. They don't care. It's too hard.
I feel the education system of Islam was manipulated and destroyed.
What do you
You
mean
know,
by that?
like Kurdistan and those places.
And
Like,
any of the, no, I mean like in the United States, like I know people that went to Islamic weekend schools and regular schools for 18 years, and they still know what the Fatiha means.
and
Right?
so
That's a
people,
problem.
like, if they're forced into it, it's like they want to rebel against their like parents and not say like, how can I relate this to my religion, and like actually say like, I'm wearing this for Allah, I'm doing this for Allah, and not just for my parents, like just to rebel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. So that's a problem in education, right? So like if you've realized, I've told you like in the beginning of the class when you guys were joining, or at least I've said that to some of you, I was like, if you don't want to attend this class anymore, let me know and I will tell your parents not to bring you, right? Because I don't think Islam is something that can be forced upon people. But I've always said that, listen, at least give this class 2 to 3 times, like attend 2 to 3 times to get at least a proper, I would hope to give you some proper education of Islam. No, it's not just the students, it's definitely the teachers. We have horrible Islamic teachers. I'm sorry. Like I've seen it, I've experienced it. I deal with it at school every day. And I have to go and be like, you can't do this. This is not how you teach kids, right? Yeah. Again, but the problem is that most of these educators were once students that were taught incorrectly. You get what I'm saying? So it's like you're producing bad apples that keep multiplying and that produce hate for Islam. It's just like, just memorize this, just do this. Like that's what you have to do. Is Islam is 6 pillars or 5 pillars, and you know what I mean? Like it's so like, if I asked what is Islam or what salam aleikum means, they'd be like, it means hello, it's a greeting. right? There is no understanding that's being taught of why Islam. Why should I follow these rules or laws, right? Why did Allah make them? Is there a point? Did he just want everyone to obey him? Is he a tyrant of a God? Astaghfirullah azim. Like, who is Allah? Why would he create the laws? These are also very important. Why should I pray? Should I pray because my parents force me? Or should I pray because I now have a relationship with this God that I've built through dua or through conversations, that I no longer need my parents, that I get up to pray because I know he's there and I have a relationship with him. It's completely different. They don't teach that anymore like that. It's more like, just, this is what you do. You pray 5 times a day. This is what you say, and this is how you do it, and you have to do it. That's it.
I
Right?
feel like a lot of parents, like my friend, her parents tell her, if you wake up for the morning one, then we'll, like, pay you $5 a day if you wake up. Like, I get it if it's like encouragement, except she's like 17, you know? So it's
She's like, maybe for $25 is too little.
right? Like,
There's
some
inflation,
people,
man.
some parents, they like bribe them into it for them to do it. And then it's more about the money instead of like actually getting up to pray for God.
I actually argue with them in the school when they make Quran competitions and they give them prizes. I say it defeats the purpose. And that it's not about memorizing the Quran and how many memorize. It's good that the kid memorized the whole Quran and he goes on a hookah bar and chills and doesn't act to a single verse because he doesn't know what any of it means. You know, so I'm not amazed at how many people memorize the Quran, but I'm amazed at the person who knows one surah and is the best Muslim amongst you. And that's what Allah looks at. He doesn't look if you just memorize the Quran, but also who implements it, who acts upon it, right? So there's a lot of conversations in the chat. So if you guys can, or someone can summarize what's going on, because there's a lot. Or who's reading?
Wait, can I say something?
Yes.
Okay, so basically I like was resonating with so much of what you were saying, because when I was younger, I was put in Islamic school, right? Like Sunday, like on Sundays, or was it? No, it was Sundays, I'm pretty sure.
Weekend school. Yeah.
Yeah, weekend school. And I used to go, and to me it was literally just like a daycare. Like, that's how I thought of it. I wasn't really retaining everything that was being said.
Mhm.
And okay, not to give you too big of like an ego, but when I got to this class, that's when I started like questioning more things. I wouldn't say that like I didn't believe in God, but like I wasn't resonating with the idea of Islam because I didn't really understand what it was, you know? And then when we started having these conversations, I was thinking and I was seeing how much like everyone in this class knows. And I was like, damn, like I don't really know anything. I mean, I'm talking, right? And it's like making sense, but I don't really feel it like deep, deep, deep. And that's why like I actually lied, sorry, in the WhatsApp chat when I said that I wasn't on WhatsApp because I didn't have storage. I just felt sort of like an imposter coming to classes and not really feeling it, you know what I mean? So like when I was taking that time, I think I also, it was misinformation and like confusing culture for religion. Like a lot of it was that. So I was like, okay, before I decide if something isn't for me, which I don't think it is, like I'm just gonna like read more into it, you know, because like information isn't gonna hurt me. So I was like reading more into it and I was like, okay. And then I watched your converting story on YouTube, and like I mean I commented this, but I literally was just like crying like so much, and I couldn't like understand why, but I just like related with a lot of the beliefs that you were saying like before when you were atheist or Buddhist, or like a lot of the experiences you were talking about. Like just like when you just knew, you know, it's not even a thing of questioning, you know that God is there for you. And I was like I need that, you know. I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but I just like resonated with that a lot. So I kept I kept like learning, and I don't know, like now I don't feel like much of an imposter because I actually like understand a lot of it. And through like, you know, researching, I kind of learned that a lot of the morals that I already do have are like underlined, you know, in Islam. And I was like, I don't know, I was kind of mad at myself because I was like, how can something be so perfect for me? And I was like so ignorant to it for so long, you know? And like now I'm always thinking about like God in every single thing that I'm doing. And sorry.
No,
But
no, it's okay.
yeah, it's just like subhanAllah, like the way things happen, you know?
Yeah,
And
you
I'm
know,
never gonna get emotional again. So you guys
no,
better be eating
there's,
this up. But yeah.
I think, well, thank you for sharing that and opening up, honestly. Um, I think everyone has their journey. And, you know, looking back 10 years ago at myself now, I would have never thought that this would be me. Like, never. Like, seriously. So, like, I always say, like, and I try to emphasize this to you guys, I'm like, you are blessed. Wallahi, like, even this class, like, I'm not praising myself, I'm praising you guys and how Allah chose you in this circle that we have. And I always try to build like brotherhood or sisterhood amongst you guys, because you guys don't know how lucky you are to have this type of education that I didn't have. Like, if it wasn't Allah showing me this, wallahi, I would have been lost. Like, He gifted me this understanding of Islam, and I felt like I need to share it with others because I didn't have that. I didn't, all I had was the things that I just complained about, right? People just like telling me to memorize this stuff, and they're the worst people I could ever imagine. So when I saw Islam, I didn't see the book and the writings and the things that I didn't understand, but all I saw was treachery and dishonesty. And of course, that would push any good human being away, right? And it's good to question. And I always say, like, there's a lot of people here that are literally, I think of them, I know you guys call me old, but you know, I think of them as my children, right? Like, there's a lot of people in this class that I love very deeply in an Islamic perspective, right? And the, that was some good pizza, you know, unless we're talking about the seafood pizza or something else. Oh, no, I don't like Domino's. I
Nah,
stay
but they
away
used to have the smallest slices.
from,
Bro, I
yeah.
got ripped off, bro. That's haram right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I disagree with the pizza sizes. They would get, yeah, the pizza, yeah. I think so. Islamic school tries to, they're struggling, sadly enough, just like you guys. They haven't gotten proper education. They're just reiterating or regurgitating, excuse my language, what they've learned. And it may not have been the best. And it's all they know. So they keep giving it out, right? And they don't sit and this is why I say, like, guidance is from Allah, wallahi. Like, to have understanding of this religion. And there's a lot of people in this class that I know, wallahi, I just feel it deep down. They're loved very deeply by Allah. I just know that. And I don't need to mention names. And I think these people will know themselves soon, and they will see what Allah will do for them in the future. And everyone here can have that, right? All it requires is a heart that actually turned towards Him. And wallahi, it'll open your eyes to the realities of this world, right? But I think we digressed a little bit. Going back to the idea of illusion and freedom, and you know, by these countries that say Islam is the problem, right? Because, and obviously, like, I don't blame Layla for, as much, she may not have realized it, but her own thoughts were a product of her society, right? Because, would you agree or disagree?
Yeah, definitely.
Right? it kind of made you almost turn a complete blind eye to Islam. Wait, when did they get
Yeah,
secret?
but I feel
I
like
got it.
the closer you are to that influence, like the more unhappy you are. And it makes it seem like religious people are just like very hopeful and they're looked down upon and it's sad, but they don't know. Like if this is a delusion, then I guess I'm delusional because like this is like this is like the closest I've been to peace in like so long. Like I feel like I've always prioritized like self-improvement in my life, and like to me Islam is the only religion that really like pushes that out of you, like brings things that you don't even want out of you. And yeah, and I'm surrounded by people from like all different types of religions, and whenever I talk to them about it, they can respect it so much, and they see like the true message of our religion is peace, you know. So when you see what's going on in like the Western world and like the way people are just like hurting, it's like, why do you even want to be close to that, you know?
But that's the thing, right? First, I always remember that this choice of Islam and where I'm at is a blessing from Allah. Wallahi, right? That humbles me that if I wasn't in His mercy, I would have been blinded or not seeing or chasing false ideologies or false labels that we're discussing right now, which I think is very important. So I always see them as they never got either the proper educations or someone to show them the truth, right? So in terms of what you said about peace, I think I've mentioned this in a few khutbahs, and I don't know, I think I mentioned it, maybe Qasim can correct me or not, because he's been in like almost every single class, but it's by Umar radiallahu anhu. He said, had the disbelievers known what Islam felt like in our hearts, they would have killed us for that and not the love of this world, right? And I've mentioned this, I believe, in this class before, correct? Maybe you've heard it, Layla. Did you hear me say that before or no?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I think when I said that, you might not have understood what I said. But now do you understand what Umar radiallahu anhu meant?
Yeah, because I feel like, and I guess I can like be more grateful for the experience because it gives you like you feel it on a whole other level, you know? Like you feel
Okay.
it deeper to me.
And that is freedom. That is the freedom that I was trying to actually get to at the end of the
Oh,
class.
now I see
No,
it.
repeat
Got
that. What do you
it.
mean? Oh, I didn't understand anything. Repeat that.
So the freedom that Islam gives you, that internal peace, that your soul isn't enslaved by anything external outside of you, that you have everything that you ever needed to be happy within you, and that's the relationship you have with Allah. When you taste that, you will be given nothing in the world will amaze you. They can put the best cars and they'll tell you we'll give it to you for free, and you'll be like, bro, I don't care about that. I have everything that I need. As a matter of fact, I don't want them because they'll enslave me more and make me lose that peace that I have inside me. So you'll give away these things that people idolize and enslave themselves by. Do you get it?
I'm trying, Sheikh.
Okay. So like right now, because of the influence of TV and media and the idea of success, right? When they teach you success, they're telling you that you need to have a car, you need to have a house, and they bring you pictures of people who are happy and stuff like that. This is all the facade or the illusion of happiness.
Yeah,
But
that's
when you look
basically
at
like
these,
schools and your parents, basically.
right,
Like,
everyone in
yeah.
society, because your parents are a product of the same media that you intake, right? They watch similar TV shows, similar, it might be not similar, you might watch the American version, they might watch the Egyptian or Moroccan version or whatever, right? Of propaganda to teach them, right? What you see the prophets always reteaching these values. They're like, success is the one whose heart was taught the truth, or whose heart is content, right? or richness is here, right? So trying to redefine success with something of value versus like nowadays, if you're successful, you have a good degree, you have a good job, you have a good income, you have a house, you have this, right? So they reword or redefine values that Allah and His prophets came to define, right? Happiness is when you have money, when you have cars, when you have all the women in the world. And wallahi, you could have all the women in the world and still be depressed.
That's
And
what my
I'll
dad
actually
tells me.
go. You could listen to Jim Carrey. Have you guys seen The Mask, the movie? Right? Maybe,
Yeah.
or know who Jim Carrey is. And Jim Carrey was very rich, right? He's made a lot of movies. Some people say he was the idea of success, and he comes up, and now they call him crazy. And there's actually a video of him talking about the Illuminati and exposing how the government is using all these talk show hosts and entertainment to brainwash the people. And they put fake laughs to reduce the authenticity of his speech. But anyway, I'm digressing. Jim Carrey goes, I wish everyone in the world got a chance to be wealthy, not rich, like super wealthy, so they could realize that it's not the answer, right? So what you're chasing after is an illusion of happiness that you have all along. So stop searching for it outside, because you will never find it. It's like an empty hole that you think you're going to be happy when you get this game or this system or this thing, and you're constantly chasing the next high, escaping the chance of being bored, because when you sit down with yourself, you don't want to confront yourself. So you're constantly running away from yourself. You're doing this rat race of like chasing things outside and not sitting down and having a conversation with yourself. I'm saying, you know what? I'm not happy. I'm not happy now. I wasn't happy a month ago before I bought this game, and I wasn't happy 2 months ago before this. So what's the problem, ya Adam, ya Muhammad? You're having an internal dialogue, right? What's the problem, Manal? Why aren't you happy? Where is the answer, right? If I keep searching for it outside and it's not outside, why do I keep searching for it? Why don't I try a different approach, right? This is how we really should be thinking and confronting ourselves. But this is the hardest thing you will ever do. As someone great said, I don't know who he was, but he says, the worst enemy to you is yourself. And this is why you never want to face yourself, but you're always running away from it. I know what I said sounds like some Taoist Buddhist stuff, but it's from Islam.
I feel
Okay.
like a lot of people do that, and
Uh-huh.
sometimes
happened?
like you just sit down, you just need to say like alhamdulillah for everything that you have, because like there are people like in Astoria, at least, like the houses here, they're like 1.6 mil for like a regular house, and then everyone's still like, oh, but if I move to Long Island, I can have this $5 million house, and then they just keep chasing up and up. But it's like, if you're content with what you have, it's like, even if I lived like even worse than this, like I'm still happy. Like it's not the house that's gonna change my feelings.
You know,
Yeah.
What?
I don't own a house, by the way. This is an apartment that I rent, and my parents have been begging me to buy a house. My sister too.
There's riba in that though.
Exactly. And I tell them, listen, I don't mind paying rent in whatever house you buy, but my name is not going on any contract. And you know, I've explained this to people before. I was like, see, they've made a system. Wallahi, like the only one that can think of it as a shaitan to entrap people. It takes you
30-year
30,
mortgages.
huh?
The 30-year mortgages.
Yeah, right. 30, 40-year mortgages. What guarantees you you're going to live for 5 years? Let's say you live for 30 years, right? If you, by the time, let's say you're 18, right? In 30, let's say you get your house when you're 20. By the time you finish off that house, how old will you be?
50.
50. Do you think that house is going to be for you? Or you at that time, you're going to be, it's for my kids?
By that time, they're not even gonna live in there.
Exactly, right? They're going to be like, bro, I don't want to live upstate or Long Island. I want to live in the city, or I want to go to Kansas, or God forbid you die. and then you have 2 or 3 kids are fighting who gets the house, right? You know how they have many Arabic soap operas on this topic that I don't need to discuss it, right? You have all the siblings fighting over the inheritance.
It's real life though. It's not like a movie.
Right, right. But it's such a big issue that almost every Egyptian soap opera is about that inheritance, right? So like what I'm trying to say is like, if you really think about it, they having you chase something. Think about it. For these 30 years, nothing is heavier on your soul than debt. Right? Nothing is heavier on your soul than debt. Like you owe someone a lot of money. So like this is constantly in the back of your head, man. Like every month, oh man, I'm negative $3,000. I have to get that. If I don't get that, God forbid, I lose my job. And then I lose all the money that, let's say I put $1 million into this house. I can't pay it anymore. I've lost that $1 million that I've spent my life trying to pay, or a quarter of it. You see how, like, subhanAllah, it's really a system of slavery. Exactly, right? So I say there's economic slavery, right? There's mental slavery, and there's physical slavery. And when they need to exercise the physical slavery, they exercise it. They use it in jails around the US or in different countries, right? Or when they run out of land, they basically bomb it to the non-existence, like they did in Iraq and different countries. And they send their projects in there to rebuild and resell and make more money. It's you know, when you rich and have power, it's a very big test from Allah. Let's just say that, right? And never, as Allah says, never think that Allah just wants them to do corruption, but as Allah says, He's only prolonging their punishment in hell. He's given them more deeds so they can stay in hell longer. Subhanallah. And the ones who they oppress, they go to heaven. So don't think, you know, when you take the realities of heaven and hell out of this world, yeah, but it's severe punishments. Like the punishments in hell become more and more severe. So like what was I saying? The idea of hell and heaven, when you take that out of the realities of this world, this seems like a very horrible place to live, honestly. Like it will cause depression in you, right? There's a lot of corruption nowadays, especially. There's so much corruption in the world, no matter where you go. And I'll say this, that it's because of the lack of religion and not because of religion. Because people are not realizing, in schools, they don't teach religion. In Islamic schools, they don't teach religion. They teach reading and writing. That's what I'm going to say. They don't try to instill consciousness or taqwa or love of Allah or awareness of Allah, right? They don't teach you to have that relationship. And nowadays, honestly, most of these schools I consider businesses. Most of the masajids, they're run like businesses. I don't consider them as Islamic organizations of how the Prophet ﷺ would have created them to be. Places that help and fund their communities and help it out, even at Catholic school. So hold on, I gotta read some chat. Look, it's Muhammad, because I just saw your comments. I had to go back to that, right? It's not easy because, like, if your circle of friends and your family and your society and your school, that's, let's say, 80 hours a week, you're being fed one thing and you think 1 hour of class is going to fix that, it's a miracle from Allah, honestly, right? That's a gift that He opened your eyes in 1 hour when you have 70 or 80 hours of bombardment, of constant attack on your brain, trying to tell you how to think and live. It's hard, right? But this leads me to another problem we have within our society, that we've made Islam into some entertainment. Exactly, right? What Adam just said. It became just an entertainment system where we go in, we get our momentary high, but outside of this class, I can really make that hour very beneficial for me, because now I could start implementing some changes. I could use this motivation to reinforce myself and try to instill some habits, or I could just wait for my next dosage of high that I get from a talk or a lecture to feel better about myself, and I go on with my day. Do you guys get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to put anyone down, but I was trying to make you guys like realize that this is all good, that you're real, that Allah's opening your eyes, right? Allah's opening your eyes, but what are you actually doing about it? Realize, because again, we're so used to the addiction of TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube to go that Islam, because we're getting it from the same sources and same media, it's becoming the same thing. Like we just view it and swipe, view it and swipe, view it and swipe, right? So we have to really think and redevelop ourselves and try to be more serious. I don't want to say the word try to be men, because there's women here, but try to be true to yourselves, right? Try to be true to yourselves and being responsible, mature human beings, which actually leads me to another issue, is that we live in a world with very immature people. Just because they're 50, 60, 70, or 80 or 90 has nothing to do with maturity, but someone who Allah opened their eyes and He's upon guidance, you will see them behave in a very mature manner, even if they're 7 or 8 years old. Wallahi, I've seen some kids that Allah guided that I'm like, this kid behaves better. I'm amazed at how smart he is for his age. That an 80-year-old or a 60-year-old or a 50-year-old makes this kid look like a genius, because that kid's making them look like very mature, oversized dolls, right? So maturity is something that I'm expecting from you guys, right? That you have to hold yourself responsible and you have to hold yourself accountable to start being better for yourselves, right? You have to basically don't blame. KDLM is the name of the company I work for momentarily. So it's their account. So it, and if I said anything wrong, now they could go to my company and get me fired, which is cool. It's not a problem for me. So like, I might have upset some feminists because I plan to post this online. So I might upset a feminist or someone of homosexual origins, by all means. Can't please everyone.
But you're not gonna post the chat, right?
The chat, no, I think it just
All
goes
right.
with the
All
video.
right, good.
So, but you guys get the. No, I'm actually in IT and computers, sadly.
What do you
So,
mean,
like-
sadly?
Like my brain, and this is partially why my brain thinks of everything as a positive and a negative, right? Like it's a lot of people actually told me to get into law. I'm just too lazy. I don't like reading.
Facts, me too. That's what my dad says.
Yeah, I was
And
like,
also
you'll
to
be
become a
great
brain
at
surgeon.
arguing. Yeah, they'd be like, you're great at arguing and presenting your points and your facts. You'll make a great lawyer. I was like, yeah, I'm not studying that much. It's not for me. So other than that, I would have loved it, but yeah, way too much reading, man. These guys read like novels every day about a case, and I'm like, yep. I still have to read for IT and Islam and stuff, but that's more of my passion,
Yeah,
like
it's interesting. It's actually interesting.
yeah, it's not just a bunch of John versus Smith and whatever some cases are. So and justice, I feel like they complicate justice more than it needs to be without dealing with the issue. And I've realized that there is corruption in everything. Working in America, I've worked at a hospital, I've seen corruption. I've worked in a law firm, I've seen corruption. I've worked in almost every single industry except
Even in
banks.
school?
Because I'm sorry,
Like English schools?
I've worked in English schools,
Yeah, like American schools, not like Islamic.
like public schools.
Yeah, public. Yeah, that. My fault.
I didn't work in public schools. I've worked in like hospitals, law firms. I worked in like different finance firms. I've worked in IT outsourcing firms. Public schools, I feel like the issue is more with the kind of falls under corruption of government, of ideologies of what they want. Like, when I teach the education system, I always speak about the Industrial Revolution and how much it impacted the education system because they needed workers for their factories. And when they taught that in school, I was like your age, and I was like, holy shit, these guys just wanted to enslave everyone to work in their factories. So they made their homes, their school, and everything around their factories. So they made their school and education system about what they need to learn to do their jobs in their factories.
Exactly.
So basically, it's
That's
just workers.
exactly.
Wait.
That's
Do you
what
know
I
the
said.
Rockefeller guy?
Yeah, yeah.
John,
Oh yeah,
You know,
Rockefeller.
he literally was quoted saying that like people are meant to be like they're not with school, they're not trying to build thinkers, they're trying to build workers.
Yeah,
He's literally
exactly.
quoted saying that.
I thought Elon
Exactly.
Musk said that.
You don't want a thinker. A thinker
No.
is going to tell all the workers, what are you doing? Right? You don't want the thinker. You don't want the guy like me or Layla or Qasim or Adam or Muhammad, right? You don't want these guys to come in and be like, guys, you're being enslaved, right? They don't, and on top of that, they take half your income in taxes. Now that's Uncle
I don't want
Sam
to go
has
to
never,
college.
huh?
That's why I don't want to go to college because of that. There's a lot of
80K
debt
a year
that
just to
comes.
be enslaved and do that for like 40 years.
And like my dad's telling me to become a brain surgeon, but like I would never do that.
You're gonna
What's
graduate
your
at
passion?
32.
Me? I'm
What's
gonna
your
become
passion?
a computer science.
So do that.
That's what I'm gonna do. Think I'm gonna listen to my dad?
No, no, like I feel like if your dad wants you to become a brain surgeon, he's still
Nah, but
alive.
the thing
You
is,
could go study.
no, there's a lot. I'm not doing that. That's a lot of work.
No, I'm saying your dad. Your dad can go study to be a brain surgeon. He's
No,
still
I'm.
young. He's still alive.
What do you mean he's still okay? All right, we're not gonna get into that topic, but the thing that comes with brain surgeons is that like say you sneeze, right? Or say like someone tries to like pull a prank on you, right? Or something happens and then you make a mistake, and even if your finger moves a little bit while you're in surgery, you kill the person.
And half
Yeah.
your salary goes to malpractice. Like my uncle, he's an OBGYN. His malpractice insurance cost is ridiculous. And since he works like private, the hospital doesn't pay for it. It's crazy how much malpractice takes.
You know why? Because my law firm goes after your that guy. It's a medical malpractice firm. That's funny. Literally. And this
I'll
is
let
why I
him
say
know.
there's
I'll ask
corruption.
him. I'll tell him so he can get a discount.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a discount, but it's more like it's crazy because there's bribery. I always say bribery is the root cause of all problems, right? Where you have people bribing politicians or lawyers or judges or anything. If you can pay it, especially in our countries back home that they claim to be Muslim countries, but if you can pay it, you're free of it, right? No matter that, if you killed someone and you have enough money, you can get away with it in any of these countries, right? And that's the problem, is that bribery, and why it's such a big sin in Islam. Going again is like people don't want Sharia law. Well, then you don't want justice, right? The only is like, why is it so harsh that they're cutting off the hands? Are you stealing? No, so shut up. Right? What are you worried about? If you don't steal, your hands are going to be okay, right?
That's
So
like when
this
that guy,
Yeah.
he's a sheikh, I'm pretty sure. He was like, oh, like, why do you think Islam is a bad religion or something like that? And then he was like, oh, because like I'm gay. And he said, all gay people are gonna go to hell. And he was like, you don't even believe in hell. So why are you
Yeah.
worried about it?
Yeah, I think it was Mufti Mink who said it. Yeah,
Yeah, that's him.
yeah. So yeah, so it's was it Mufti Mink? I don't remember, but yeah, I think so. Hello. was, I don't know, I heard something. I don't know that was. But anyway, what time is it, inshallah? So you guys get
That was
the
my
idea.
friend.
Oh no, it's okay. So I think you guys get the idea about what we're talking about in terms of slavery, right? I wanted to discuss really today what I was hoping to discuss with you guys, the idea that pay attention to the labeling, right? They say that they're the ones that are causing, fighting oppression or fighting Sharia law or fighting Islam or terror or whatever, right? Meanwhile, these people are defending their homes, right? I always say information, as Laila said, is free. So go educate yourself. Wait, what did he say? Listen, I'm not gonna advise you not to go to school. I went to school, I finished school. Did it help me? Maybe.
I'm not
I
saying
don't know.
school. I'm not saying school like
Yeah.
education. I'm saying like, because in school now, it's like you gotta get good grades to become someone good, right? To to become wealthy, but you're not gonna become wealthy even if you do get like the best of grades, unless you become a neurosurgeon. And there's so many people wanting to become that, and there's like a little percentage of you becoming a neurosurgeon. So getting that money, right? That's what I mean by
I will never recommend a movie for you guys, but I'll make an exception. There's a lot of good and bad things in this movie, but the message is good. It's called Three Idiots. Okay, it's an Indian movie.
Oh my God. I've
you
actually heard about it. I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it.
check it out? It's a little bit weird. I've watched it 2 days ago as a recommendation from someone, and I like the message because it talks about education and the problem with it globally in terms of like kind of what the issue that Adam just discussed, and it might help shed some light on these issues and yeah, too much singing and dancing for me. It drives me insane, honestly, way too much. But I fast forward during all those scenes, and there's a lot of things that aren't halal, so I shouldn't be recommending it to you guys. But I feel like you're all mature enough to realize what you can skip or what you can't skip, and take the good out of the lesson of the movie and ignore everything else. But it talks about following your passion, if it's halal, in terms of doing. I thought you were going to recommend. I don't know what that is. What is that? What's the Truman Show?
Oh, it's a Jim Carrey movie, and I don't want to spoil too much, but basically he like finds out that his whole life has been a lie. I feel like it's good about like if you want to learn about brainwash or like question the way that you've been like the reality that's been handed to you. It's a really good movie. It's free right now on YouTube. And I feel like
Where
it's
did
good.
it come? What year was it out? Is this some of his
It's not
recent
it's
work?
not recent. It's not recent, but I feel like it's like a nice foreshadowing to like what he was going to believe like later in life. Like he's still young in that movie, but it's just good because it's just like, damn,
Yeah,
like is this
it's
all like,
crazy.
it makes you
Yeah,
think.
because he just disappeared, comes back as this like guru of like life in a way. I honestly wish I could have a discussion with him.
Honestly, I feel like he's just taken so many shrooms and like he's like ascended. Like that's what I feel like happened.
I don't think so. I think he reached it through meditation.
Yeah, no, like you were speaking how
yeah.
you were speaking in the video about how
Yeah.
your like experience with meditation and like that crazy experience that you had. I feel like I don't know, because with white people and like their recreational drugs, like you can't really trust this. So
Yeah, there's a few people that I actually wish I can have a discussion about, and these people are like, there was some like, I don't know, you might see him actually, this guy that wears a turban from India, and like I see his for some reason I get his advertisement. I removed the ads now, but I don't know if you guys seen it. I don't know his name, something Guru. And
oh my god, yeah, I used to watch sad guru, something like that.
yeah.
I think it's him.
SADH. Yeah. I like some
Maybe.
of his stuff, but a lot of the time, like he's answering the question. Oh, he kind of does the thing that you do. Like somebody asks him the question from the audience, he's like, okay, And then he goes into like a 7-minute ramble, and then like people feel like enlightened, but it's like, did he really answer the question?
I feel like you could ask someone else for that, Adam. I feel like yeah, I'm sorry.
Why
I'm
does
not giving
everyone
it-
say they don't know? I asked like a scholar. I'm asking you. No one knows.
Listen, if you ask me if I do it, I say no. Me personally. I just my belief that something will happen in the near future to destroy all technology, or almost all, to the point that if there's no intranet or internet, how would you be able to that currency would be valueless in a way.
But you're in IT, so wouldn't like your job be gone too?
Yeah, it's okay. Alhamdulillah, I'm good at farming, carpenting. I know beekeeping. I've tried to learn.
Oh yeah,
as
show us your
much.
bee
You can
farm.
get a
Show us your
degree
bee
in
farm. Show us your bee
beekeeping.
farm. I forgot about
Huh?
that. Show us your bee farm.
I have a picture. I'll share it with you guys in the group after, inshallah. But what I was trying to say is that I try to teach myself. This is the one advice that I probably took from my dad that was good. He said many other advices that I kind of threw out the window, but this was good. He said, in life, try to learn as many things as you can, because you never know what you're going to need one day, right? And if I have an interest in archery, I went and bought a bow, I took a class, I learned it. If I have an interest in beekeeping, I went and did that. And that's my advice to you guys. If you have an interest and you have the means to, or get the means to, you never know when you're going to get that skill, and it's something that you have in your belt. You never know if, and what happened in Puerto Rico when the people, when basically the hurricane destroyed everything, the only people that were able to survive, the people that knew how to live and work off the land. Because if there's no food or things in the supermarket, what are you going to do, right? So it's always good to learn traits and skills that were very important in the past. And it keeps you, like carpentry is a way of meditation in a way. It's something not modern day, it's kind of like all automatic, you switch the button. But I'm talking about traditional art, carpentry or woodworking. You can make spoons, right? Grab a piece of wood that you find in the street, and you have a small carving tool. It might take you a week, but you could sell it on Etsy for a decent price, right? So like these hobbies that you can do, everything is meditation.
Yeah, so that's what I like. How is carpenting meditate? Like I'm literally hurting my
Beekeeping?
hand. What?
You're stressed the whole time.
Yeah, ascending through like taking care of bees. Like, damn.
So like the way I teach, so the way I explain it is, right, first there's sitting meditation or dhikr, right? So a lot of people are like, is meditation haram or halal, right? We're not talking about sitting with your hands like this and chanting
Home.
Shanti Om or some mantras, right? We're not talking about that. We're talking about just sitting still and reflecting and dealing with yourself and trying to remain calm throughout. So first stage is sitting meditation. Once you master that, and the way I explain it is, and I try to get you guys to do it a little bit, which physical meditation is like, imagine your mind on a leash, like it's a cat on a leash, and it keeps trying to run away. And then when you realize it ran away, you keep pulling it back, right? You lost your thought, you're thinking about something, and you're like, why am I thinking about that? Come back, pull your brain. But that's the problem, right? Is that the more you train, the more your anxiety will go away. And honestly, make dhikr. The more dhikr you make, the more peace you will have. So like constant remembrance, and I'm talking about throughout the day, you're making dhikr of Allah, you're thinking about Allah, contemplating about Allah, right? So your brain is not diving and flying off, but it's always with you. You're present. That's really what meditation talks about, and what Islam also talks about in terms of being present. What if Allah is just always in your head without dhikr? That's fine. That is dhikr. The intrusive thoughts I have there in prayer sometimes kill me. I swear they're so annoying. That's also fine, and it's part of the training, right? Layla, you've been, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 16. I turned 16 in June.
Okay, so you're 16, and for 16 years you've been letting your brain, this cat, run wild, right? And now you're expecting it to listen to you when you tell it to stop. It's not going to happen in a day or a month.
Yeah, but I think it's genuine like OCD. Like it's like kind of like a little weird.
Stop
That's why I
giving
try to
yourself
like distracting
excuses.
myself. Well,
Stop
how
giving
is that
yourself
excuses? I can't like
excuses.
He is
control it.
a-
I'm literally praying, and then in my head, like something pops up, just like I hate God, and I'm like, what? Like, where did that come from?
Or
But
like
wasn't that
in
mentioned
the
in the Quran
picture
though?
of
Was it?
him
Wait,
in
wait,
my
wait, wait,
head.
Yeah,
wait,
yeah.
wait,
So
that was mentioned in the Quran, right? Like random thoughts that just come into your, like I think it
but
was
that's
said.
waswas. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
what's
waswas.
yeah.
So it's so what I always see. That's something you also learn from meditation, and I did that with a few of the. I did it when I was at Qasim's house, and I did it when I was at Muhammad's house, when we had you guys sit down, right, and try to figure out which thoughts are from you, which thoughts are from shaitan, right? You realize that you're trying to focus, and this is something external from you. Something that's from you, you start or initiate. Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
but
in
I feel like
control.
I feel like that's the thing, but it convinces you that it's like out of your control. Like I'm just sitting and I'm like peaceful, and then it just like comes. Like I don't know. I
But
don't know. I've
that's
always
when
dealt with that.
but that's when you use dhikr, and you're supposed to seek refuge in Allah from shaitan, right? A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. And what I always tell people is to realize, like when you're in a state of anger and or upset, or something's bothering you and you feel like your chest is heavy, and you say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, just pay attention, and you realize yourself always going right, and you just feel better. Like as soon as you say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, realize how you exhale. Just pay attention.
Bro,
Okay,
why'd
I'm
I
not
just
joking.
exhale, bro? What? Sheikh, what do you do? I know
No, but
everyone here just did it.
no, I'm not saying to mimic me, but I'm saying realize that when you're in these states and you exhale, shaitan leaves through an exhale,
Wait, what if you don't say
right?
like A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim?
That heaviness remains. Sometimes you feel like you're being choked. When it's something absurd, that's when I notice it. But most of the time it's hard to notice. Exactly. And hence why practicing constant dhikr or presence of your mind is very important, right? You don't notice it because you're like an untrained mind. Your mind is constantly running and you let it, so you don't realize when it's running. But when you're trying to hold it, it's running, you're like, no, come back here. No. So the first time it might take you 15 minutes to realize, then 10, then 5, then 3, then 2, then 1, then eventually you have constant presence. And if you have that, you'll see what I mean by peace.
Okay, so it's like sort of okay, you're talking about remembrance, but basically realizing that like you aren't your thoughts, and you can just sort of like observe this like whatever's going on, this like outpouring of thoughts, and like not let it affect you because you know that you aren't your thoughts and you're like observing it.
Exactly. And to the point, I will even say that if you really master it, it will give you an immense amount of patience and wisdom, because you become a third party in your own experience. You're realizing that you start evaluating things like, this is just an experience. I can choose to react. You have more control.
Okay, I understand.
Right? I could choose to entertain it. I could choose to let it go. But most of the time, as soon as I realize these thoughts, I stop it. It's not like I see shaitan, I don't, right? But I realized as soon as the thought comes, I'm like, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, and I change my thoughts. I don't even entertain it or give in a second a thought. I don't continue a second thought or a second word. I could stop the thought mid-sentence and be like, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim.
Yeah, because when you're recognizing it, you're giving it more power over you.
Exactly. You entertain
it. Understand.
You're having a dialogue with him. It's like, okay, shaitan comes and you're like, oh, hey, come here. I made tea for you. Come sit down. Let's talk. Okay. versus like, bro, I don't want you here, get out, right?
Yeah.
That's
But you
kind
know
of
that
like
guy
the
you
attitude.
mentioned before, Sadhguru,
Uh-huh.
like he
Uh-huh.
prays like for like hours and hours and hours. And maybe I'm getting him mixed up with like Deepak Chopra, I don't know. But they literally like they could spend days like, and I know like I mean
Hold on,
meditating. I
I
don't know
gotta
if I said
Google it.
praying or meditating, but no, there's seriously and I was reading this thing about Deepak Chopra too, where he went like
Oh,
a
is that
week
the
without
no,
speaking.
not the Deepak Chopra? I
No, I know
actually,
you don't like him because like he's not, you know, but
he's
I
like
just find it
he's a
fascinating.
Hollywood wannabe guru. I don't get that sense of enlightenment
Really?
from him. No, at
But
all.
you get it from Sadhguru.
What's his name? How do you spell that?
SADH and then guru.
Yeah, that guy.
Bro,
Yeah,
like when I see these people or when I watch their videos, it's like I
Yeah.
want to spend like a day in your mind. Like, how is that like? You know, it's so crazy.
So you just gotta meditate for like 1,000 hours, but
Okay, got it.
yeah, so it takes practice, right? And this is, again, it's not like, it really is a gift, and it's a test of patience, because if you think about it, to stay that long in that meditation takes time and patience, right? It takes battle with yourself that is like yo, just go check your status, your phone just vibrated, right? You don't realize that these are all distractions. Shaitan's like, get up, get up, get
That
up,
my
right?
phone
And you're
does
like,
that to
no.
me.
Huh?
Like as soon as I start making dua or something,
Yeah.
then my phone wants to randomly start blowing off, and then it's like
Yeah.
you have to turn it off. So if it just
Yeah.
keeps going.
I feel like that's just like a further test, though, like a test of like what you're willing to prioritize and like a test of your desires and like
Yeah,
making the
exactly.
hard choice that your brain convinces you is a hard choice, but it's not actually.
Your resolve. How bad do you want this?
No, I actually have a question though. Like, what's the longest amount of time you went meditating? Like, do you just pass out? Like, do you just fall
You
asleep
don't pass
sometimes?
out. No. In the beginning, I used to. 1,000, like in the first 3 months, you don't realize how tired you actually are and how much you're neglecting your body's rights upon you. And it's okay to sleep, and it's okay to give your body the full rest it needs, because you cannot progress forward without your body being healed first in the process. So it's a long journey. And to answer your first question, it was 10 to 12 hours.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, I'm sure
Bruh.
you have
It
like
didn't
further
start.
goals,
Now, what
but
is your
that's
meditating?
wow.
What is your meditating? Like,
You
what?
have work
How are
that
you
day?
meditating?
I'm just sitting in a chair doing absolutely nothing.
Sheikh, that's cap. There's no way you got that much patience. Sheikh, that means your
No, I
kids
think
could
it's
literally
true.
be like, you'll never hit your kids. You know what that means? Like, you'll never ever like put them in a timeout. How do you have that much patience?
So I wouldn't say it was patience. It was more of stubbornness in the beginning,
I don't get it.
actually. So like, I'm very stubborn. So
All
I'm
Arabs.
sure you, yeah. So like maybe fifth. What time is it? Maybe 10 minutes. So like, very stubborn. So like the first 3 months, I always say like, and even if you watch the video, I talk about how angry I actually became because of meditation. Because I was like, yo, what am I doing this for? Like, I was doing it for, some people say start in 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, but I was doing it with half an hour from the start, right? And I was like, let me do an hour, let me do 2 hours. And I'm like, I'm not seeing results. And I'm like, why am I doing this for? What am I expecting to get? Like realize I didn't have someone to tell me like, this is what you're going to get at the end of meditation, right? And a lot of people were like, when I was reading about it, a lot of people just end up crazy. Like, I did this for 6 months, nothing happened. I did this. And I was like, what motivated me was the prophets. So honestly, and the Buddha
Wait, so
himself.
like you
Actually.
didn't eat?
No, this has nothing about food. This is well, at that time, actually, because I was,
No, when you're
subhanAllah,
like sitting meditating for 10 to 12 hours, you like you didn't eat?
at that point in my life, I was unemployed. So all I could afford to eat was like literally white rice or 1 egg a day. So it worked out perfectly. Right. it was just the plan for Allah's guidance, and I talk about that in my video.
Wait, so
It's
you
just
don't get
like,
up, you just sit in a chair?
yeah.
How do you pray?
At that time, I wasn't Muslim yet. So like, watch the
Oh.
video, because then salah replaces my meditation for the most part. I don't stop meditation. I just do moving meditation versus still meditation now. And then my still meditation in a way became my salah, what I do in salah. So watch the video. It'll explain a lot of your questions. about
Also,
the
how'd you get
rebirth.
that much time on your hands? Like 10 to 12
But you-
hours is a lot.
I just didn't
He
play
said he
video
was
games.
unemployed. Yeah.
No, it doesn't
Right?
matter. You didn't have friends?
I've actually lived with roommates at that time, and I've had friends, but that's the thing. I didn't talk to anyone. That's what I wanted to do. You know,
Yo, that's I'm not gonna.
you get what I'm saying? Like, something in me was telling me, like, just keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. And I was like, yo, if those men prophets did it, I could do it. That was my mentality. I was like, they're men. Like, at that point, I didn't even believe in a God. I was like, they're men, and they were able to achieve something through this. Therefore, they're not better than me, so I could do it too. That's what motivated me to be stubborn, to push myself past the threshold where most people quit.
Is that haram to do
that's-
now?
To sit and meditate? No.
No. Saying like the prophets, they're not better than you.
The prophets are people that are chosen by Allah. You have more of a degree than them because you have not seen the prophets, you have not seen Allah, you have not seen the angels, but you believe in all of them unseen. Wouldn't that put you in a higher degree?
Oh no, I can't answer that question.
Right? So actually, what Muslims fail at is what the Christians and the Jews fail at. There was a hadith, you could look in this in the tafsir of Surah Al-Baqarah. I forgot the verse, actually. I could get you the verse later. But basically, a Jewish man and a Muslim man are having a conversation. And they're saying that the Jewish man is saying Musa alayhi salam is more beloved to Allah than Prophet Muhammad. So the Muslim man slaps the Jewish man and he's like, how dare you say that? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is more beloved to Allah than Musa alayhi salam. So they both go to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and they tell how they exchange the conversation that happened. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam responds, he's like, do not favor me above any prophets, because on the day of judgment, I see myself resurrected as the first human being, but I also see Musa alayhi salam standing next to the throne of Allah, and I don't know who got up first, was it me or him? So do not favor me above any other prophets. And actually Allah says that in the Quran, and he says all the messengers are as one, we don't differentiate between any of them. And that's a verse from Allah in the Quran. So to say the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is better or more favor or not, we, inshallah, yes, he will have a wish or a dua that he didn't use versus the other prophets, right? So I think some people say because he's my prophet, and it's not saying don't love the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying don't say that he is better than other prophets, because then you're going against what Allah said and what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said.
Yeah, but like, what does
And
that have
Allah
to do
knows
with
best.
us? We're not
That has to
prophets.
do with us because there's another hadith by the Prophet ﷺ that mentions on the day of judgment that people that are like lamps next to the throne of Allah, and they ask him, who are these people? Are they prophets? Are they anything? They're like, no, they're people that had more faith than the prophets because they didn't see or they didn't witness or they didn't have that. Like, think about it. The Prophet had a wahi. Like,
What's that?
he had to accept that, like he had the angel Jibril come to him.
Oh, he had like proof.
And like as proof. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like for you to have the same certainty of the existence of God as a prophet or more, we would hope that Allah appreciates, anyway, if you consider appreciate, because if anything, it's a blessing from him to begin with, right? That he's blessed you with that much faith, because there's a conversation already between you and him. But I'm getting too philosophical. So anyway.
Question.
Wait. What'd you just say?
When you say
What'd you just say?
I'm saying that the blessing, or you thinking you having a relationship with God, you can't take credit for. And this is why a prophet told Allah, he's like, how can I praise you when you have blessed me with everything, even the guidance and even the praise that I'm praising you with? He's like, and Allah responds, well, now you have truly praised me because you knew that all of this, even your praise of me, is my blessings upon you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Like, if all of the prophets are considered the same, like, how come the Jewish one, Musa,
Musa alayhi salam.
like, you know how they say if you want to like make dua correctly or something like that, you can also send like peace and blessings upon like Prophet Muhammad, and then do you also do it for the other prophets since you like they're all the same?
I never, sorry, that was like a frustration. I never call the Prophet ﷺ's name in a dua. I've never done it. I'm not saying you could or you can't. You would need to ask someone. My dua is get accepted because I ask Allah without anyone else. When we call upon anyone, according to the Quran,
It's shirk.
we ask only of Allah. It is
What's
only
that? I
Allah
didn't
who.
do it. Except I saw something. It was called like how to like properly make dua, and it kept coming up on my For You page because like I liked like one Islamic video, and then my whole For You page like switched to that, and then it was like a method on how you're supposed to. Except I don't know. It seemed weird to me because the prophet was just a man. Like at the end of the day, like he was just a human.
Yeah. He would never say, ask me to ask Allah. No, he will tell you to ask Allah. This is from my studies and my own understandings that I've seen every single prophet do. They will say, don't ask of me, ask of God. It's like, I can't even help myself. Why you coming to ask me? You see the humbleness, and they're teaching you to rely on God, not upon them. So how is it that now you're saying that I need to ask of them and Allah? We don't ask except from Allah, and this is to my own understanding of monotheism.
Yeah, like I felt like it was weird too because like Christian people, like a lot of them, well, at least like my friend, she's Orthodox, she says like, oh, they need to pray to Jesus. And then I was like, in my head, it's kind of weird if you pray to a prophet in Islam because they're not,
Yeah.
God. It's like you're imitating the other religions.
Yeah, there was a huge influence
so
in evolution. Yeah, sorry, continue. What was your thought?
I was confused because I kept seeing it over and over again. And I was like, I don't know if they're just copying like the first person that posted it or something like that.
Is there a reference to why they're saying do that?
I'll try to find it right now.
Maybe you could send it in the group, inshallah, because I gotta end. I have a few people that I'm holding up the living room, so they're like, get out. But inshallah, we'll it was a really fun discussion. It's very educational for me, and I hope for you guys as well. And inshallah, we'll continue like on the internet, how many misinterpret things and get their own. But yeah, there's the evolution of culture and religion in combination, and the influence of people that used to be Christians and reverted to Islam and may not have proper understanding of Islam and kind of incorporated two together, right? Or Mongols and different other religions, that Hinduism specifically, because there was a lot from their culture that kind of combined into it. So you'll see that effect. Maybe we can reopen the topic of culture and religion again, and we discuss that. Yeah, I have to go. It's getting too noisy around me and it's causing me distractions. But inshallah, we'll continue this later. If you guys, the topic for today was freedom, right? And the illusion of it, and how Islam is the solution to that, and what the false idea of a non-existent freedom and its consequences on the world that we live in. And inshallah, if you guys want to discuss any other topics that are similar to that, send it in the group and we'll open it and discuss it next class, inshallah. With that being said, if you guys don't have any questions, I'll end abruptly, and I apologize for that.
Thank
Any
you.
questions? No, thank you for your time. Sorry for making it a really long class. Yeah. Okay. What do you say? Yeah. Me too, honestly. I hope everyone enjoyed, and inshallah, I'll see. Shafir, bro, I haven't heard or seen from you in a while. It's good to have you. I didn't realize you were there because you were so quiet. But inshallah, I'll see you guys next week.
Inshallah. Next week, inshallah.
Inshallah. All right. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Wa alaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum.